Welcome back to Between Us, Mother-Daughter Unfiltered. I'm Zeynep.
And I'm Tara Khaleesi.
We are back, and today we're talking about
Conformity and dopamine.
Now, I know words like dopamine and conformity may sound a little technical, but this episode is really about something every person goes through, especially in the teen years. Why we follow trends, why we care so much what people think, why it feels good when we're accepted, and once something makes us feel included, why we keep going back to it. So let's start with briefly defining what conformity and dopamine are.
I'll take conformity. So conformity is basically complying with rules or acting on how other people do for approval.
And they do it for dopamine without even realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Dopamine is basically a feel-good sensation from feeling included by conforming. And after our last 2 episodes on hormones, you may think this is a hormone too, but dopamine is actually a neurotransmitter. It's like the chemical messenger in your brain that helps control feelings like reward, motivation, excitement, and pleasure. And dopamine is what makes conformity stick in this case. You fit in, you feel good, and your brain says,
do it again.
Exactly.
Not many people know what conformity is, but when they think about it, they just think there's one main thing, but there's actually 3 types. First is compliance, where people conform publicly to either seem cool or to be likable, but in private, they keep their own thoughts, beliefs, and opinions, and they may seem like they have conformed, but they feel differently inside. The second is identification, where people conform for a certain person's or group's approval. They start to dress or talk like the group so that they're accepted.
Yeah, they're changing some parts of themselves because they want to belong to that group.
Exactly. And then there's internalization, where people absorb what the group's belief is and begin to believe it themselves, which often stays with people even into their adulthood. The simplest way that I like to remember this is compliance is like acting, identification is like adapting, and internalization is like absorbing the belief system.
I feel like that's the most dangerous one if you're surrounded with the wrong company.
Exactly, because you will change yourself, and kind of like the saying, you are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And if you're in the wrong group,
Yep. That's exactly it. And that's probably one of the top fears of any parent for their kids.
Yeah. Also, I found out that, which I didn't know until we were recording, that conformity can be just one word. It's like, you know how we have our Gen Alpha word of the week,
Yes,
where we talk about a viral word? That can be conformity.
Oh, to cool words like what's in right now.
Yeah, it could be one word, slang.
So conformity doesn't always have to be a behavior.
Exactly.
Very interesting.
Yep. And speaking of Gen Alpha word of the week, I know we haven't done one in a while, but we actually have one for this week.
And it's a tough one.
Go on. The word is tough.
But it's not Tough, tough. This is spelled as Tuff.
Yes.
Tough.
And tough basically means it's cool or you're impressed. I say a lot, this is tough stuff.
Yeah. And you call me tough a lot.
Yes, I do, because you are.
Well, thank you. And honestly, that's a perfect example of dopamine and conformity working together. Because when Tara Khaleesi calls me tough, and I know it's a cool Gen Alpha word, I feel included and accepted, and that makes me happy. And that good feeling I get, that's dopamine. And that is exactly how dopamine connects to conformity. Yeah. And when you repeat this behavior, like when you follow a trend or, start saying Gen Alpha words to fit in or act like the group that you're in, people respond positively. They accept you. And because those are good feelings, you repeat the behavior to get that dopamine, which then becomes the dopamine loop because you keep repeating it. And over time, your brain starts thinking, okay, fitting in and following trends is equal to feeling good. Right? Standing out is equal to risk. Brain and dopamine, they don't like risks. They don't want to take risks because that could lead to not feeling good. So when conformity stops being like a choice, it starts feeling like something you have to do, which brings me to my point that I was afraid of you turning into someone else.
When I was conforming.
Yes, exactly. When we moved from New Jersey to Tampa, it's a huge step for you, 5th grade, and the elementary school is over. Now you're in the middle school group, right?
Mhm.
And you're in a new state, new city, brand new school, which is 6 times bigger than your old school.
Mhm.
And when you first started, you liked certain things that defined the Tara Khaleesi I know and I love, of course. And I started realizing in you, for instance, everyone had their hair middle parted. You didn't. You
Yeah.
would when you wanted, but it wasn't a must for you. All of a sudden, that became a must. And what my mistake was as a mom, well, I shouldn't say as a mom, as someone who knows psychology, I should have stepped back and realized this is conformity and it's okay. It's healthy as long as it's kept in check.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, I kind of panicked as a mom
Mhm.
because I didn't want you to lose what makes you you.
And that makes total sense.
Yeah, but I'm the adult here. So that was a mistake on my end. I should have not panicked, but I panicked. That's why we had a lot of, not arguments, but discussions over hair. How dumb does that sound right
Yeah.
now, right? But to me, it wasn't hair.
It was
more so
me.
you. Exactly. And I know it's only a year and a half ago, but you being younger mentally, you can understand it better now that you wouldn't understand back then. I wanted you not become a follower.
Because you've always taught me, be
You-
the leader, don't be the follower.
But then at the same time, I was annoying you by saying be yourself because first off, you didn't even know who you were. You are still trying to find. Guess what? I was 25. I was still trying to find who I was. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But because I kept saying that, I was annoying you. And then I was getting annoyed because you were being annoyed.
Yeah.
It was
It was
just a
just-
whole another loop that we created
Mhm.
last year.
And I'm glad that you brought up the be yourself thing
Mhm.
because I know we've talked about this before. You will never truly be yourself. There's types of yourself. There's yourself with your friends, yourself with your parents. Like,
Yes.
I'm not gonna act the way I do with my friends, even though I see you as a friend. Like,
But I'm your mother first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's tough because we were in a new city. You're growing. You're going to be a teen, in 7th grade. And I was just scared that I was losing you. And that panicked me. So looking back, I'm sorry. Like I should have been calmer and realized this is all normal and it's okay. And instead of doing that, I panicked. So
Mhm. And it's okay because that's like the mama bear in you. You know?
I know. Comes out in certain times, especially if it's about your character and who you are or who you want to be
Mhm.
in life. But yeah, I'm learning too. So none of us are perfect. Back to conformity and dopamine. Now, dopamine is not a bad thing. It just makes you feel good. And at the same time, if you're not careful with it, dopamine is what makes conformity stick. So depends on what you're doing is where the danger lies, right?
Mhm.
And this ties into our episode 6, social media,
Yeah, totally.
right? Like, remember when you were so into Snapchat and you had to check your Snap score or Snap streaks?
Because that's what everybody else was doing, and I didn't want to remove myself from that
Mhm.
and seem different.
Yeah. And every time you got a snap back, that's dopamine released in your brain.
Exactly, like the light would light
Yeah.
up in my brain. I got a snap.
Yeah, you feel good, And you're not personally on social media. However, I know you have friends who are.
Mhm.
If you step back and look at the behaviors, I'm sure you can see. I don't want to say obsession because it's a strong word, but at the same time, it is obsession to see how many likes did they get? How many followers do they have? Did people like their latest story? How many people saw it? Those are all small dopamine hits they get. Does it make sense?
It does make sense because looking back on it, and I still do this, Even if I see a message pop up from one of my friends, I get excited. I get like, oh, what did they say?
Yeah.
It's like a wave over me and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, those are all small dopamine hits. And that's why we had to create these boundaries. Like, you don't have an iPhone for a reason.
Mhm.
And like we talked about, this is not to control you, but it's to guide you. And you grew up with the knowledge about your brain's development. Hey, my brain is not going to fully develop until I'm 25 or 26. I give you a lot of credit because you do understand the reasoning. Do you like it? No. Do you get upset? Of course you do. Do you get disrespectful? No.
Because you taught me to not be disrespectful.
Yeah.
And of course I have slip ups, but
I wouldn't. You really don't.
because like I'd be thrown out the window if I do.
Stop.
Like your eyes get all wide. You're like, what did you just say to me? Like you get this all of a sudden deep voice, more deep than dad's. And you're like, what did you just say to me? I said, I love you,
Well,
Mama.
Honestly, you haven't done that since you were like 4.
But it still hurt.
Yeah, right.
It's still right here, Mama.
She's pointing her heart. Okay, whatever. But do you remember how bad you were though when you were 4? Oh my gosh. I tell people all the time because everybody's so scared of 13, 14s and 15. I'm like, boy, I survived her when she was 3 and 4.
It ain't gonna do crap.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Like, I'm totally fine. Because you were, oh my gosh, you were just not a handful. Handful is not the word. You were something else. Do you remember our Zeyzani photo shoots?
Oh my, like mommy move?
Oh yeah, you literally would stop the photo shoot, which is my work, by the way. And our photographer, shout out to Biff from here.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah. He was so good with you. He was so patient. And you would literally jump in the middle of the photo shoot, move the models out of the backdrop. And I walked in when you did that. Of course, you're 3 years old, cute as a button. And Biff is not going to say no to you. And here I am. What is happening? We're in the middle of a photo shoot. You turn around and tell me, Mommy, move.
And in my defense, you were in my way of my moment.
And you're so into it. You're with your bedhead.
Different poses, hand on the hip. Yeah, I survived. So teenagers is nothing. And those pictures did turn out really cute.
Yeah, we have to share a few and that video if you let me.
Sure. Because it was really funny. I still watch it and laugh sometimes because I'm just so sassy.
I miss you being little, but then I remember and I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm really good. Thank you.
Well, we kind of derailed.
Yeah, we kind of did, didn't we? But that's the beauty of having a mom with ADHD. You never know what you're going to get and when you're going to get it, right?
Yep.
But going back to our subject, I should have stepped back and remembered myself around your age. At some point in middle school, there were these Harley Davidson rider boots that were in. Looking at your mom, do you see me in Harley Davidson rider boots?
I see you in Zaytani boots.
But I so wanted a pair. Every girl, every boy, they all had those boots. My best friend got a pair, of course. Luckily, I tried them on and looked in the mirror and I was like, nah. Yeah. But I should have remembered how badly I wanted those to fit in because everyone in my school, male or female, had them. I just wanted to fit in. So with your side versus middle part hair, I should have remembered, and it's so easy to forget. Mm-hmm. And that tells parents sometimes maybe we should just take a deep breath and step back and just try to remember how we were at your age, which is sometimes hard to do.
And honestly, like I remember walking out on the first day with my side part and I would look around and I'd see all these people with middle parts. And then I just look in the mirror and I'm with the side part. Mm-hmm. And I know people would say stuff like, ooh, girl in the side part. So I was like, I don't really want this. So that's why I changed it. And honestly, I feel that 6th grade TK is not the person it is, but a whole different.
You changed so much.
I know, I changed.
6th grade for you was you were trying to find yourself and find yourself in your surrounding there, not in life. But I remember you coming home after the first day of your middle part hair, and you were so happy. You were telling me how many people told you how beautiful your hair looked that day. And I rolled my eyes, not at you, but inside. Because how happy you were, I didn't say anything to you. And I just hated the middle part, though. Not the middle part itself. I just hated that you
what
didn't.
it really meant.
Yeah,
Me.
yeah. I just wanted you to stand up and say, I am who I am. This is me. But I should have realized you were so little. That's not the age to say that, no matter how badly I may want it. I should have handled that a little better internally.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you didn't even know many of this, but mostly telling parents here. Yeah. I was only tying red flags to conformity.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't focusing on the positive sides because there are also good sides of conformity.
Yep.
Like taking turns, respecting boundaries. These are all some levels of conformity.
Yeah.
That people don't usually focus on. Conformity also helps groups function effectively. There are shared rules and values and clear structure. For instance, your basketball team. If there was no conformity, it would be a mess because then there's no structure.
Exactly.
For instance, classrooms. If there's no conformity, then people wouldn't know how to work together effectively.
And everybody would be bouncing off the walls. But with conformity, like you said, it creates harmony.
Yes. And it also provides a sense of belonging and security as long as it's kept in check.
Yeah. And that's the point of conformity, to have that security.
I fit in here feeling like you have with your school.
Yeah. But there's also, of course, the bad sides of conformity.
Well, yeah.
I learned that there was a thing called the spiral of silence, an actual phrase that psychologists called it, which is where one opinion becomes dominant because of people not willing to speak up against it, but they don't agree to it. It's like the compliance conformity.
Politics, religion, they all have that.
And people don't speak up about it because they don't want to lose that sense of security, like you said.
And that's another reason when I say in our home, when we have guests or friends, we don't speak
about politics and religion.
Yes, that's exactly it. And also, like we mentioned, the social media aspect of it. You get addicted to it because of the dopamine release that it gives you. Yeah.
And the other bad sides of conformity can include like having an extreme diet just to fit in. I know back in your days, not trying to make an old joke here, but it was a trend to be very skinny.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
And that would make people go on extreme diets.
Yep.
Even though your body just might not be built like that.
And in puberty, this is where you're growing. Your body's changing. It's getting rounder. It's, these are normal body changes. But because it was so in the late 90s, early 2000s to look like stick and bones, I used to think I was fat.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I hurt my body trying to get as skinny as those girls were. And it's not my body type.
Yeah.
But you can say the same thing now. People do like rounder bodies now.
Big booties.
Yeah. And just to get rounder shapes, people go under the knife and get plastic surgeries.
Yes.
And some people die from it. So today's world does not want you being stick and bones, but now the trend is being rounder. And if it's not somebody's body shape,
you're cooked socially.
So not much changed, really. Again, it's the conformity's bad side that forces people, hey, I want to look good with today's trends. So I should get this done or that done. Another thing, back then, you wouldn't remember, but podcasts used to be huge. I was offered to have a podcast in fashion. I was like, no, we're not going to do that. And so little I knew it was in my path in life. Here we are. That being said, I cannot believe this is our 9th episode. And our first season is over after the 10th episode. We're done with season 1. And we are both alive.
It's been a hell of a ride, bro.
Oh my gosh, yes. It has been a lot of learning curves.
And speaking of hell of a ride,
To celebrate a successful season 1 and still being alive, I am taking this girl to
Bad Bunny.
in Madrid, Spain. Funny story. I had no idea who Bad Bunny was up
Right.
until
The Super Bowl.
Yeah. When you said, I want to watch the halftime show. And how glad I am. Actually, how glad you must be
Yeah.
that I did. First off, I don't know Spanish. I have no idea what the guy was saying. And it's not like he's my type, so I'm watching him because he's hot. It was the music. And it made me so happy. And the performance, I don't know what it was, but I felt so hopeful. And I decided, you and I
We're
will
gonna go to Bad Bunny.
see Bad Bunny.
And that's you taking it to the next level.
I know.
Like, Mom, let's watch the Super Bowl. You want to see him in person? Like, what?
And you're like, I don't think he has concerts in the US. And here I'm thinking it's like right here, Brazil, meaning, not that
like
far.
America's.
Yeah. And you're like, well, he's in Europe. And you gave me a bunch of dates and cities. I'm like, I've never seen Madrid. Let's do it.
We will share a bunch of pictures and videos from
Oh my
when we
gosh,
go.
our trip, awesome moments, and definitely Bad Bunny on TikTok and Instagram. Make sure you guys follow us. So that's going to be awesome. All right, before we wrap this up, Tara Khaleesi, if there's one thing to take from this episode, what will it be?
I would say that conformity isn't always bad. The danger is when you stop thinking for yourself.
Yes, it's okay to want to fit and just don't lose yourself trying to.
Exactly.
And now about our next episode, which is our last episode of the season.
We are not ending it quietly.
Oh, no, we're not. We're going out with something big, something that's already shaping how we think,
how we act,
and honestly, how this entire generation is growing up on. So yeah, we're going out with a bang. And until then,
stay unfiltered.